After that, underneath the brows, I don't like to go for the lighter concealer. I like to go for the transition concealer. So we'll be using that Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Deep again. And I'm using Color de Jour brush 107. We're gonna start right at the arch. And so your goal here is to create a nice clean line underneath the brow. So I get most of the product close to the brow, and then I start laying my brush flat to bring it down. So initially, as I'm getting the concealer close to the brow, I'm using the tip of my brush, and we're just laying it flat. You don't have to bring it all the way down with the flat head. I'm gonna pick up my Color de Jour brush 112, tap into the concealer a little bit, and pat it onto the lid. And that's going to be my eyeshadow base. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. When I'm doing the other side, I just try to make sure that my lines look pretty even, since the brows aren't done themselves and we're just creating the guideline for the brows. And now I'm going to pick up my blending brush again. I'm just going to stipple it onto the lid. And then we're going to buff that product in. Okay, so now that we have primed the lids, we are going to go back in with the bronzer we were just using. And this is an easy way to create a nice soft smoky eye without picking up a whole bunch of shades. So I'm going to go in with the same bronzers that I use. We're going to start off with this shade from the dark palette in the outer corners. And I like to do just a stippling motion, and I do this a lot with most of my clients, where I start their eyeshadow with the bronzer I used or with their overall powder. It depends on what look I'm going for. So if I use a powder all over their face, I like to start off with that sometimes too. So we're just going to stipple here, and then I'm just going to carry it in. But most of the buildup is going to be on the outer corner. And then I'm just going to feather whatever's left on my brush in. We are going to do a lot of smudging, but I like to start off with a nice base to begin with, and then we're going to create a lot of dimension by the lash line. One area I really love to leave exposed is the highlight underneath that brow, so I try not to cover up this area underneath the brow. I'm gonna build it up with one more layer. And whatever is left on the brush, I'm just blending everything in. So I just tap the lid with a little bit of this shade here. More so closer to the inner corners. And you don't have to do that step. I just wanted a little bit more coverage on that inner corner. Next, I'm gonna take this bottom shade right here and we're gonna smudge it along the bottom lash line. And I'm using Color de Jour brush 105. I love a good smudge, so we'll be doing a lot of smudging. So this is the first shade we're working with, right? So you wanna make sure that you bring it down a little bit because we're gonna get a little bit more darker on the outer corners of that bottom lash line. I know some people like to use the flat head to apply it, to create the dimension, and then use a smudge brush to smudge out the edges, but I really love just getting the product on there and smudging as I go. Next, I'm gonna pick up that Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, Primrose, and I'm gonna smudge out with Deep Berry. I know it's a purple. We're trying to keep this look brown. I want just nice neutral tones, but this gives off a nice brown tone. We're gonna apply this close to the lash line. And we're just keeping it in the outer corner. So most of the product is going in the outer corner. And then once most of it is off of my brush, I'm just going to pull it in slightly. And we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. And I'm gonna go back and smudge out. This is the tan palette. I'm gonna smudge out with this bottom shade right here. And this shade is just going on the edges of the eyeshadow we just applied. So we're just going to smudge out to where you can't see the beginning and ends of the makeup. Remember, I'm very big on that. So we don't want to see where the makeup stops and starts. And I'm going to use that same shade, the Deep Berry, to smudge on the top waterline. And we're going to apply it close to the lash line. And I like to start from the center of the eye and just work my way out. Sometimes I'll get a brush to blend out, and sometimes I'll just use my fingertips. So light smudging, and we're stretching it out. I really like to bring it out to create a nice almond shape to the eyes. Gonna do the same thing to the other side. I really like to build up the intensity of the smudging, and so that's why I concentrate the product in the outer corner to the center of the eye first. Then once I get that build up there, I'm going to start smudging outward and smudging up a little bit. And I'm gonna take my blending brush just to make sure everything's blended. And it's okay to go back and add some of that bronzer if you need to just help blend out the smudging. It's a very simple technique. You don't have to have a steady hand. You don't have to have a lot of precision. Now I'm going to apply the eyeliner. This is one of my favorites, KVD in the shade Walnut. And I'm using Angle Brush 104 to apply. And we're going to apply it to the bottom waterline, And I am pulling it out a little bit, so I'm not keeping it just on the waterline, I'm pulling it down to the lash line so that it blends in nicely to my smudging. Now we're going to take it on the top waterline. And I like to start from the center of the eye. I'm going to pull it up just a little bit on the outer corner. And we're just going to angle it up. And with the same smudging brush, we're just going to work the edges of that eyeliner and smudge out even further. And then the rest of the eye, we're just going to carry it in. The longer end of the brush should be facing the inner corner as you're working your way closer to the inner corner. So I did the inner corner already. We're going to thicken the line up. We're starting from the center. And I'm going to take that same smudging brush and we're going to smudge out. I'm going to pick up that same bronzer just to blend out the outer corner. So we're going to go back in with the blending brush. I'm going to apply it here and just feather it out into that smudging. Next, we're going to do the tight line, which is the top waterline. I feel like this step is really important because it really shapes the eyes. And I'm going to use that same angle brush, that same walnut KVD shade to look down for me. And I'm just going to pull up on the lid. It's this area right here. And you can see the difference. It really gives a nice shape to the eyes. And you're also welcome to do this technique with a pencil, which, I mean, both are great. I really like how cream glides on and stays. For lashes, I'm going to use one of my favorites. These are TRS 907. And whenever I'm applying lashes, I like to clip the tips of them off and clip a little bit off the ends of them so that it fits nicely onto the eye. I like to do a little wiggling like this just to make sure that it's conforming to the eye. And the glue that I'm applying my lashes with, we're going to use Sassy Eyelash Glue. And you want to make sure when you are putting glue on the lashes that you're not gluing the side of the band, more so the tip of the band, the very top of the lash band. And then when I'm applying it, I'm aiming for where her lash follicles are, wherever her lashes are coming out of the skin, that's where I'm applying the falsie. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to take 909s in TRS and I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm just going to place more volume at the edges of her eyes. So with this half, we're going to place right on the edge. And you just want to make sure that it's blended into the other lash to where you can't see that it's two lashes on. We're going to place the other lash on the other side, just to give it volume. It looks better in pictures. I'm going to take two products to do the brows. We're going to use, this is Anastasia Beverly Hills Ebony, the dip brow, and we're also going to use Fenty. This is the shade Black Brown. This is their brow MVP. So what we're doing with the pencil is just creating hair-like strokes. So I'm just going along the base of the brow, and I'm just flicking up to create hair-like strokes. So I'm going with the hair. So if you don't have time to do both, just doing the pencil is a beautiful look, and it looks very natural. Now we're going to pick up, this is Ebony, Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm going to work on the perimeter of the brow first. So as I'm picking it up, I like to thin the product out to where you can't see much product on the brush. And I like to work the tail of the brow first. And then I'm going to just clean up the edges of my brow, the perimeter. And we're going to fill in any sparse areas. And that's it, not much to it, but to do it. And then we're going to take a spoolie and we're just going to buff out. Next, we're going to take some mascara. I love to use L'Oreal Voluminous Original Mascara or the Carbon Black Mascara. Either one works fine. Carbon Black, obviously, it's going to give you that nice, true black. So I'm going to apply it to the bottom lashes. I like to do a side-to-side motion, getting the mascara off onto the lashes first. And then I drag down. I like to do the bottom lashes first. Now I'm going to take the mascara, look down for me. I'm going to take the mascara and I'm just going to apply it onto the natural lashes, so not the strip. I don't like to change the character of the strip. To help with the pout of the lips before I do lip liner, I like to take a little bit of the bronzer. So we're going to use this one here. And I'm just going to apply it right under the lips. And it gives a nice little pout. And you can do the same thing to the top line if you want to. just to create more dimension. Next, we're going to go in with Chestnut Lip Liner from MAC. You always want to make sure that your lip liner is nice and sharpened. And I'm just carrying it right on the edges of the lips. Victoria has nice lips, so we want to make sure that we're creating a nice little pout. And so one thing that I do to create a pout is to focus on the Cupid's bow. I like to round out here on the Cupid's bow. And this is where I carry it up slightly higher. Now I'm going to apply it right on the perimeter of the bottom lip. And it's okay to fill the lips in a little bit with that lip liner. I just like to turn the pencil on the side versus using the very tip. For our lip choice, we're going to use Kat Von D. This is called Bow Narrow. And then we're going to use Dose of Colors Lip Gloss in the shade Must Have. So I'm taking Color de Jour brush 102. We're going to apply the Bow Narrow in the center of the lips.
How much longer?
Probably like 10 minutes. Next, we're going to go in with a Dose of Colors Must Have. I'm going to go back under the eyes just to add a little bit more of that Studio Fix powder. And then it doesn't hurt to go back in with a little bit more blush. Especially because I need to blend the edges of that powder I just applied. For the last step, I'm going to finish off the application with Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I'm just going to spray all over, and this helps settle everything in and makes the application look more skin-like. So there you have it, a nice sultry, smudgy look. Not much to it, but it creates a beautiful glam. I can't wait to see your recreations of this look.